Hello, sopranos, mezzos, and altos. Welcome to the continuation of my series on agility practices. Today, we're going to introduce and practice some of the patterns that we're going to be using throughout the remainder of the series. The key difference here today is going to be that I'm going to play them at a fairly modest tempo in a fairly comfortable range of your voice so that you can get used to the patterns. I will talk ever so slightly more to tell you what we're going to use the patterns for later. But other than that, I don't really talk in these videos. So thank you very much if you've chosen to subscribe. I truly appreciate it. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters. Thank you for joining me on Patreon and getting MP3s and PDFs of these practices. And for those of you that have chosen to become a member of my channel here, YouTube member, thank you. Your support in however you choose to share it is greatly appreciated. The first exercise sounds like this. I'm going to show you here. There's a short little breath that happens throughout the duration of the exercise, and you get a long pause at the end of it. Your goal is to try to take that breath and keep your engagement substantial, so keep your expansion happening. It sounds like this. Now, it'll go a bit faster later on in this series, but here we're going to keep it fairly comfortable. Sopranos and mezzos, it's nearly impossible to be in a comfortable range and avoid your primo passaggio, but just know that that is taken into consideration here. I will keep it at a fairly modest range. For those of you that wish to follow along, we're going to begin right there. And moving on, the next exercise, series of thirds. This is a great exercise for overall agility and speed, and particularly I like it when I'm practicing registration events. Again, I'm going to take it a little slower today. We will go faster later on in the series, and we will go into the more, shall we say, rarefied areas of the range, so higher up around the secondo passaggio. But today, nice and easy. E and A. E, just like that. You can begin here and the next exercise is one version of the trill exercise. Trill exercises are great for, it's like sustain note exercise in disguise, because the trill, the difference between the two notes is such that if we treat it more like we're sustaining a pitch, then it helps us to learn how to sustain pitches. Equally, we can do the trills and learn a bit of agility as well. It keeps us flexible, which is really, really good for our voices, basically about in every way. This exercise sounds like this. And once again, you're going to start a little higher up than me. And the next exercise is very similar, except it has a trill at the bottom and the top. This is more of a challenge exercise. The trill at the bottom challenges you to stay flexible, to avoid getting too rooted in those bottom notes, to prevent you from getting to the top effectively. So you have to stay light and focused and narrow on the bottom so that when you ascend, you have the flexibility to do whatever is necessary, basically. In this case, you'll have to have a little bit of vocal fold elongation, and you'll probably have to move over the primo passaggio into your lower middle voice, sopranos and mezzos. But really, that flexibility could be for anything. It could be for another fast, agile passage that's about to happen. It could be for the big high note or something like that. So it's a bit of a challenge. It sounds like this. And again, we're going to take it easy. We're going to go faster later on in the series. You're right here. And And there you go. Again, we're going to go through these exercises throughout the rest of the series. I'm going to put them in different combinations. I'm going to use different vowels. We're going to explore different areas of our individual vocal ranges. These are the exercises. They are going to go much faster. So familiarize yourself with them here, and you'll be all set to go for the remainder of the series. Thank you again for checking out my video. I hope that you're having a lovely day. A big thank you if you've chosen to subscribe, and if you haven't yet, I hope that you'll do so now. Another big thank you to my Patreon supporters. That's picture in picture. I did that last week too. To my Patreon supporters, I always leave those in. To my Patreon supporters, I really appreciate your support. You really keep this thing going, and I truly appreciate it. And again, a big thank you to my YouTube members. Appreciate your membership. Have a lovely day. Take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye.